Roma is playing, then definitely the Lyra will be prioritized. Else, it will be an open pick, because if Delphire plays and comes in to be part of the lineup or the starters, then we might see that of Lyra. If not, then Finn. Finn, very, very strong in the current meta.
Yeah, definitely. Finn is one of those heroes who's just kind of crept into the meta without having any buffs to him or any nerfs really to other captains. But he's extremely strong against any kind of dive. He's really good at protecting a backline mage like a Celeste or a Scarf. And so that's why he seems to have teams decide to want to play him more. But I do agree, I expect a lot more of the healers. There's definitely going to be Grace and Lyra pretty much banned or picked in most of these games. But obviously, we could see a Lance or Arden. There are other captains that teams have favoured a little bit more. There's been a lot more variety of captains in this patch as opposed to what we've seen previously. So that's really good, and it means that teams can really pick comfortably as opposed to having to just pick what the meta implies they should.
Definitely, that is one thing that I want to talk about as well. It's that the current meta is just so captain friendly. Per se, if you favor your CCs, your crowd controls, then definitely you want to go for that of Lance, ban out that of Catherine, or even just Grace. Grace provides really good crowd control in that early game. But of course, come to the and if you like your sustain, then of course Lyra and that of Grace will be prioritized.
Yeah, it is interesting how the changes to sustain, making Book of Eulogies worse and stuff like that, has actually made it so that the sustainable captains become far more important. And I think that might shift eventually, where teams realise that Lyra doesn't give as much sustain as you need, and so maybe you want to move away from compositions that utilise Serpent's Mask and maybe go into more burst. We could see, obviously, with the Slumbering Husk, it does make burst a bit less useful. But the problem with that is you're forced to build at least 2, sometimes even 3 defense items. Otherwise, your Husk is too easy to just proc. And so they just proc it with a bit of poke and then burst with something like Attacker.
Definitely. So coming out from the side of blue, which Elite 8 will be on. And of course, on the side of red, we have Nebulae. First ban coming out will be that of Glaive. And of course, in response to that, we have a Black Feather being banned out for the side of Nebulae. One thing I want to talk about really is the Black Feather ban. If they remove that of Glaive, then really they want to settle for a mage like that of Scarf, if not that of Celeste. Removing Black Feather from the equation, maybe you're expecting a Celeste being picked up, because you just don't want both of them to be on the same team. But I personally think Nebulae could have just done a slightly better job just removing a mage of their own. However, we know Truffy's is a mage lane, a mage main, and he just does so well on that Scarf, if not then Celeste.
Yeah, I think the Black Feather ban was to tempt Elite 8 to pick one of their captains, and then Nebulae were going to first pick the Celeste. But Elite 8 deciding to switch their draft up and just first pick Celeste, because Black Feather's banned, is actually a really smart pick, and there aren't massive counters to the Celeste that are left open. So now Nebulae are going to try and deny Elite 8 as many captains as possible. They picked up their own Lance and banned the Finn. That is risky, because there's still Catherine, Lyra, Grace, which Elite 8 will all of them, I think Elite 8 would be happy to pick. And the cool ban, that's just it's reasonably good against Celeste. There were almost no weapon power junglers left. Obviously, with 3 of them already being banned away, you're forced to almost go double CP if they're going to push that into CP Idris, or most likely we're going to see a weapon Idris with a CP jungler, maybe a Scarf or a Samuel, to try and counter the Celeste.
Yep, that is for sure. But there is one thing as well. It's that Jewel. I've seen a lot of our players, the pro players of Southeast Asia, actually just settling for the Jewel, picking up Jewel in their ranked games, in their practice matches, and actually run weapon Jewel in that of jungle. Granted, you do not have quite as much gold as when you are in that of lane, but all in all, it will kind of balance out because of the heavy plating. You are really good in jungle fights, and all in all, you are just so much more tankier. And talking about sustain-wise, you don't have the best sustain because your Book of Eulogies cannot quite convert or translate into tier 3 items. So a lot of players in Southeast Asia actually think that it's not a good place to put Jewel in, and that would be in that of lane. Rather, they would prefer it in the jungle. However, we do see a Lyra being picked up by the side of Impunity. By the side of Elite 8.
Yeah, they're going to go Vox. I was expecting a Kestrel. That Kestrel Celeste comp is extremely good. It's a great poke with a Lyra, great sustain, and you can siege turrets, and at 15 minutes Kraken is ridiculously easy to take. But they want the Vox instead. Vox and Idris are quite similar. If they go for CP Idris, that's actually really good against Vox. But if that is a weapon Idris, then it's pretty similar. Vox can run away quite effectively. And I would, even though it doesn't seem to work that well with the Lance, I'd expect a Samuel. Obviously, they could go Taka with Lance Idris. They have a lot of dive. But we're going to see a Catherine last pick. So I was not expecting to see Catherine, obviously. Now, I don't expect Crystal Power Catherine. It's most likely to be either double weapon with a weapon Lance jungle and a CP Idris lane. Sorry, the weapon Idris lane, or we're going to see CP Idris. What are you expecting or hoping to see, Luxurio, in terms of the Idris?
Honestly, if you were to ask me, just looking at the roster itself, we have Iron View Die, we have, just Iron View Die, just very comfortable on that Lance. We had a little talk about it before. It is the Lance that goes Sorrow Blade into double tension bow. Yeah, so that is one thing that Iron View Die ran in the previous season. But with the changes to Sorrow Blade, or rather Tension Bow, I don't think that would be quite happening. But I think it's either... I want to see a CP Idris. That is one thing for sure. We have quite a low win rate. If not, then I think it was a 0% win rate if your team actually has got a CP
over last
Idris.
week. Yeah, last week it was 0% on CP Idris. It was actually 100% on Weapon Idris. So maybe that's just a quirk of how statistics work. I'm sure we're going to find out pretty soon whether they're going to go Weapon Idris or CP.
Yeah, but definitely I really like the team comp coming out from the side of Elite 8. They seem that they have got enough front line damage in terms of that Vox. I mean, Vox is considered range. It's considered range hero, but all in all, his range is pretty short, if you were to ask me. So they have got a Vox that can be in the midst of fight, and on top of that, the sustain of Lyra, and then you have a backline poke in terms of that Celeste. So all in all, looks rather well rounded for the side of Elite 8. However, the side of Nebulae, we have to protect the carry comp. Sandwich the carry, protect the carry, just put out as much CC crowd control as possible, so that those impales, those stuns coming out from thin walls, if not then Catherine's. I think if execution wise, personally, Elite 8's team comp would be easier to execute, whereas the side of Nebulae, if they can properly go into the back lines and ignore Lyra, ignore Vox, take out the Celeste first, then jump and switch attention to the Vox, then I think Nebulae would have the upper hand in that late game.
It's definitely a much more meta comp for Elite 8. Nebulae have got really stuff that we weren't expecting to see. I think it might throw Elite 8 off. It might be a little bit tough for them to try and react to this. The Weapon Lance will do extremely well against Celeste early on. He needs to get a block for the core collapse, otherwise he becomes pretty simple target to hit. And once he's done that, obviously, probably going to be a Sword Blade first. I'd expect to see Sword Blade into Tension Bow, and then probably another Sword Blade if he gets the gold for it. As Jungle Lance, that doesn't often happen. And there's probably going to be a lot of invasion from Nebulae, a lot of aggression onto the Celeste. And I think Idris will be most likely, if he's CP, just trying to farm up in lane, trying to get that equal range to Vox, so that in the trades, it will be pretty simple for Idris, probably with a Frostburn, to basically attack Vox to slow him, then back off a little bit and get easy Chakram poke. And that will be pretty simple for Nebulae to win the poke war if they manage to dodge Helios. But I don't think that's the way they want to run their comp. It's much more likely they want to go for a lot of dive, a lot of just try and get on top of Celeste and hope that Lyra hasn't got enough heal. But we are into the fold for the first game, and we still don't know about Idris. He's gone for the Book of Eulogy start. What do you think about these the early game rotation, Luxury? It looks like we're going to see defensive from both teams. Were you hoping for maybe invade to go to the enemy mid-heal camp for one of these teams?
I mean, definitely, because if we think about it, the side of Nebulae have got such a stronger invade comp in that an early game, because you have Catherine with a stun, you have Lance with a root, and even if you do not want to go in with 3-man aggression, you can at least just go in with, say, your Catherine. Like we saw Quarter 4 was on that Catherine, was very aggressive in that early game, but we might see a slight skirmish that will happen circulating around this Elder Triad.
Yeah, definitely both teams looking to try and either pick up the Triad, and it will actually be taken by Elite 8. Angry Guy going to get stunned by the core collapse, and that's a lot of damage, but he's quite tanky. He's going to be able to get away, and Official Hind will be happy to secure the Elder and get his own farm. Angry You Die not going for very aggressive start on this Lance. He's just farming up and then porting home and farming up again. Minion Candy used by Delphi. That's extremely smart because Idris has real tough time farming up in the early game, and now this Minion Candy means that Hunjägers will be completely unable to pressure him.
Yep, that is a very smart move coming out from Trophies right there. And that is one thing that I want to talk about, is that I think Elite 8 didn't know who is actually the starting lineup for the side of Nebulae, because they pick up this Lyra. Granted, Lyra is kind of meta at this point in time, but honestly, I think they just wanted to just, you know, deny Lyra coming out from the side of Nebulae, because we know as well, Lyra just does well in that of the early game, but not as good in that of the late game.
Yeah, and that was a nice poke from Elite 8, and they managed to back off at the perfect time, stopping Angry You Die from being able to get any damage on Hunjägers. Anime Save Me, though, does port home, so this is... and Hunjäger is actually going to port home as well. So, really good rotation from Elite 8. They're just being very passive, very defensive, trying not to fight, not to get themselves involved in too much, and seeing if they can stop Trophies from farming up. Angry You Die needs to try and find something on this Lance. He's just going to port home again, so this is really going to be a CP Idris, definitely. With Lance not going aggressive means they want to scale to late game. And so now it's interesting because late game is going to be a very much a skill matchup between Official Hind and Trophies as to who can land more poke.
Yep, definitely. That is one thing for sure. But of course, you know, as a CP Idris, you lack that mobility to actually enter the backlines. When I say you lack the mobility, it's because you just do not have that stun, or rather, you do not have that what is that word called? That flicker thing that it does.
Dash. And there's going to be an impale blocked by Anime Save Me. He actually picked up an early reflex block. He's going towards Crucible first item. We've seen this a lot on Lyra, to get you more healing on the sigil as opposed to buying a fountain, and it saves his life. Nice poke from the chakram. And yeah, so Idris, as you said, he hasn't got the dash on his Shroud Step, and Anime Semi once again will be stunned up, and that impale does connect, will be a first kill. That the Bright Ball was not enough to stop Angry You Die. First blood to Nebulae.
Yep, very well played then. They know that she kind of just expired her reflex block, and from there they just lurked around and just looked for the opportune moment to actually just jump in. Delphi though going in with the Merciless Pursuit.
Yeah, he's going to go in. Hunjäger's able to back away. Delphi just going to get one stack. He's on 4 at the moment. And Anime Save Me has respawned back into the lane and obviously has got his block available. So Angry You Die going to rotate to Jungle Shot. Can't quite pick up a full Solar Blade. But just work towards it. And I think that Trophies wants to shop pretty soon because he hasn't got his Divergent Piles yet. So it's really hard to farm, but not with a lovely chakram like that. Double hit onto Hunjägers and bringing the minion wave towards him. This is good farming from Trophies, and he'll be happily able to support home for that tier 3 item.
Definitely. So looking at CS itself, we do see that Trophies is just farming slightly better as compared to Hunjäger. Hunjäger sitting at 36 CS, not exactly terrible, but as compared to Trophies wise, 53 CS. Granted, Trophies has been going into Angry You Die's jungle to just score extra farm.
Speaking of Angry You Die, gets stunned up by the core collapse, able to back away, and we're actually going to see a shadow much more similar to the North American style CP Idris, where they go pure damage and the stun from the Merciless Pursuit, not going to connect. Some poke does go out on Stealthfire, and Trophies has got full Shatterglass, so he's able to have those ranged basics. And if Hunjägers gets hit by the chakram, it is going to hurt an awful lot. He's hiding in the top bush. Trophies going into Anime Save Me. Impale is blocked. Anime Save Me just about able to get away. So much damage on Angry You Die on this weapon power Lance. Still hasn't even got a completed Solar Blade. As you said, so the CS difference is interesting because Trophies is farming very similarly to Hunjägers, but he has taken away the back camps. If Merciless Pursuit does land, so does the Impale. That is a dead Hunjägers. Buy yourself a block, son, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yep, I mean, Angry You Die, he's playing relatively similar to when Cassandra was on that weapon crew, if I remember correctly. Very, very patient, and Trophies though.
Trophy's going to go in onto Official Hind, but he's actually going to be the one taking more damage, forced out by Delphi. And I'm surprised that Trophy's used his Shimmer Strike to try and get the kill on Official Hind. He just had to poke, wait for the chakram, do the chakram, and Official Hind probably would have fallen. But in the end, he's actually forced to back towards the jungle. And this is a free turret for Elite 8 because Trophies is too busy trying to get jungle farm. So that is really helping the gold deficit Elite 8 were under. It's now almost identical. But Viper Walk and Sigil and Core Collapse all down though for Elite 8. Nebulae are very annoyed their turret has been taken, and now they want to do the same. I will be able to secure this front hill most likely. And now Nebulae pushing their own turret, and Jaeger's taking the poke from the basic attacks and trophies. But actually, Angudai is not in lane. So this tier 1 turret for Elite 8 will remain standing. That is so much damage onto Jaeger's. He wants to get away. The Sigil keeps him in the fight. Will it be enough? Sigil not up for another 10 seconds. Angudai wants to go in. There is not a Crucible for Anime Save Me. And so the Impale will easily land and kill either Official Hind or Jaeger's. They're just going down so quickly. If that Impale lands, he's actually gone Tension Bow first. So the heavy steel was just for damage, but Angudai did actually pick up Tension Bow, and now Jaeger's is alone in lane. But Anime Save Me will rotate back up, and there's just the siege coming out from Nebulae. Official Hind could be in trouble. Could he get stand up? Not twice. He bought a block, went down to shop to pick it up. Core Collapse does land, so does the Supernova, but still not that much damage. Angudai with double defense already. White Bulwark baited out by Angudai, and Jaeger's forced to port home, but Nebulae not going to push the turret, just to escape to their own jungle.
Yep, that is one thing about the team comp that's coming out from the side of Elite 8. It's that they are so much better in terms of objective taking, and even Han Jaeger, if he actually does settle for that point shift in the early game, then definitely he'll have, you know, more sustain as compared to trophies on the CP Idris. CP Idris, as we all know from now, it's that he just do not do very well in extended team fights. Granted, you know, you can poke from back, and thus it explains why the side of Nebulae just decided to go for 2 roam-like heroes when you have a lot of CC, so you can just lock one person down, and then you have trophies to shoot out.
Yeah, I'm going to go in a little bit of poke on Anime Save Me. He'll actually twice the Core Collapse does be dodged by the combat well, and the wait for it does go wide because of that fantastic dodge by Angry You Die. One thing to point out is the CS was stolen by trophies, but in the end, there's 2 items on Idris, one on Vox, one on Celeste, and one on Lance. Speaking of Lance, he's going to go with the Tension Bow. So much damage, piercing through all the targets with his Partisans technique. Delphi is going to have to boots away to try and survive. There is no 2-on turret for Nebulae, but they are able to back off, and the Minion Candy was used by Anime Save Me just to help this lane push. It looks like both teams are actually going to back off. No one is going to fall, but Angudai could be in trouble. He's under Sentry, but will that be enough? He dodges the Core Collapse and is going to use Healing Fast to stay alive. That's a lovely Impale. Double root, and Official Hind is very low. It's just on the back line. Easy killed him. Sentry. So will Jaeger's most likely to the Lance. Anime Save Me is the last one alive. Can he get away to his own Crystal Sentry? Yes, he can. So Nebulae get 2 kills. Will get a gold mine, but not the ace. So no turret.
Yep, that is a very questionable play coming up from the side of the 8. I mean, why would you even try to get onto Angudai when you obviously know, granted he is going for that, semi-carry build where he has got a Sorrow Blade. Anime Save Me.
He's trying to be a bit sneaky and somehow will be able to get away with the Imperial Sigil. So Anime Save Me was a little bit caught out, but able to back away.
Yep, but my point earlier on was that Angudai, granted he's going for the weapon carry build, but all in all, Lance has got a lot of, just very, very thick, to be honest. Even when you build him as weapon carry, because of the given wall passive, you receive directional damage reduction, I think, up to 40%, if I'm not wrong. Whoa, just look at the amount of damage coming out from trophies on that CP Idris. But there is one thing that I must commend Elite 8 on.
Let's hold that point for a second. Anime Save Me gets bursted down, not able to use the fountain in time. He just gets deleted. No crucible for him. He actually had to use it earlier when he face checked the shot bush and got caught out. He used crucible, which means in that fight it was not available, and Angry You Die just went in so hard, doing so much damage. And Jaeger's has only got one tier 3 item, 1 tier 3 damage item, because he's forced to build Aegis against trophies. And this is why so much damage is coming out from the basics, and this turret is going to be sieged down. Delphi is going to be just taking a bit of poke. The turret does fall. Impale lands. Double, triple stun by Angry You Die. There's the silence. Catherine's going in. Jaeger's will receive the fountain just in time. Angry You Die was unable to get those basic attacks in before the silence ran out. and this will be most likely either a half full gold mine or a sentry for Nebulae. I wouldn't be surprised if they just take gold mine. It's not completely full, but with 1 kill on official hind, it might be worth it to bait a fight. And that was just so much damage, and the triple stun from Angry You Die. He misses the combat roll though.
Yep, he did miss that combat roll there, but it was triple stun into triple chakram coming out from trophies as well. A lot of damage that is laid down in just a snap of the finger, and even faster than you can actually blink. So honestly, what Elite 8 has to do right now, because like I said earlier on, I must commend them on their decision-making skills going into for the turret when they realize that they can actually just push a turret. Okay.
Delphi's going to go in with the stun. Blight Ball was used, so it's the core collapse, double stun. This could turn around for a land on Angry You Die. Take another. He's going to have to try and run it away. Combat roll not up for another 8 seconds, but that is 4 ticks on the chakram, taking both members of Elite 8 down to half health. But they've got a Lyra now back to full. Angry You Die on the back line. He misses the impale onto any of the carries, but Crucible was used anyway by Anime Save Me. And the Storm Guard from Delphi are doing loads of work to keep them alive. There's the engage from Elite 8. They want to go full cam onto trophies, but there's a double chakram onto Henyegas and Anime Save Me. One more impale does miss again. Angry You Die is in bad position. Solar Storm comes through, but he's going to be stunned by Delphi onto Official Hind. Official Hind is full health with him, Eve of Harvest. So there's really no chance that Nebulae are going to go in. Fountain used by Anime Save Me to keep himself alive. Delphi is so low, he's got the echo up now, so this could be a really simple turret defense if he gets that double silence. No Crucible for Anime Save Me just yet. Trophy's taking his Heliogenesis, and here's going to be the impale. There's the first blast tremor, easily going to connect. Will be a kill for Idris. There's the second one. Does not land on that Official Hind. He's able to put those Helios down, and now there's going to zone away Nebulae, but they still want to go in. Trophy's using healing fast. That's an impale. That's a dead. Yeah, he goes. Official Hind trying to run away. Core collapse does not quite connect, but Official Hind is still like full health. But Angry You Die is going to try and be sneaky. Nope, he's just going to back off, and this will be a gold mine for Nebulae.
The build on trophies, that is one thing that we really need. I think I sense an urgency to actually talk about the build coming out from trophies. He has got double shatter glass going into a broken myth, so that is a lot of damage. But besides having a lot of damage as well, it's that is one thing. Without defense, and granted for a CP Idris, really and honestly, you just want to poke like a mage. You just want to stand in back lines, poke, and just put out as much damage as humanly possible as a CP Idris. But he is a very easy target if you consider if Lyra. All Lyra has to do is just not Imperial Sigil, but at least teleport in, Bright Bulwark, trap trophies in it, and immediately follow after by Official Hind stun. If not, then Handjäger's silence. Then it'll definitely work out all in all. Remove trophies first from the team fight, then afterwards Elite 8 would have an easier time. But a lot of team fights, what we are saying really is, Angry You Die gets down to very, very low, but trophies half the time is just really healthy. So that is one thing that Elite 8 has to work on. I mean, looking at kill death score across the board, we have 0 to 8, 8 being on Nebulae's side. However, the gold difference is as well 5k gold lead for the entirety of Nebulae.
Yeah, it's interesting what they're going to have to go for. Trophies looks like he is going to pick up the hallucinating current and not triple shatter glass. I was kind of hoping, when I saw the heavy, I was hoping for triple shatter glass. But it's interesting the point you're talking about there, because what they're going to do, they're going to focus on Trophies, who now has 4 damage items just completed, no defense, completely glass cannon. But then you've got a weapon Lance who there's no defense for Henyegas or Official Hind on the Lance. They have both got Aegises completed, but there's no weapon power defense. There's no metal jacket to try and stop Angry You Die, and so he's just going to be completely free to deal so much damage on the back line if he manages to land one impale. Speaking of an impale, there may be... Nope, not quite yet. Both teams just looking to poke. Henyegas wants to run away to make sure that he does not take too much damage, but Lyra's actually got tons of heal, so much health. Henyegas still down half health. There's an echo on the Catherine Mirthless Pursuit. No follow-up from Nebulae. And yeah, Lyra with this Slumbering Husk has so much health.
So much health indeed, and on top of that as well, it helps her to survive maybe 2 more damage and 2 more Chakrams coming out from Trophies. Just look at Trophies' build. You know, you would think following SEA meta, you would think that he'll settle for 3 Shatter Glasses, if not, like you said, if not, then at least 2 Broken Myth, because that is one thing that SEA likes to build, right? They like to stack a lot of piercing, and that is just, you know, SEA meta all in all. I'm quite surprised he actually went for the alternating current like you mentioned, but I guess for the attack speed, if he does go in a 1v1 with Fox, then he might just come out on top. But granted, with the amount of burst that he has, you don't have to quite be afraid or be worried about, you know, the amount of damage that Fox can put up, because with 1 or 2 Chakrams, you can just immediately remove Fox from the entirety of the portal.
There's going to be the engage. Official Hind going to go through the portal, but Angry dies on the back line. Official Hind taking a bit of poke, and the blast hammer was blocked by Official Hind, but not by Hunyegers. He's going to be out. He's going to be taken down by a Lance. Solar Storm comes through and does a lot of damage. Trophies is now very low with Broken Myth stacks falling off, and Official Hind's going to try and do a lot of poke, but he's only got 2 completed damage items as opposed to the 4 on Idris. So they have to be careful. Trophies is able to pick up a possibly War Treads. No, he's going to get the block. That's smart. Really popping it. Catherine actually pops her infusion. So Nebulae with 1 kill onto Hunyegers is going to start up this Kraken, and MSAP is going to spot it. And there is a Imperial Sigil just waiting to try and steal this Kraken. Who's going to take it? It looks like it should be Nebulae, but 1 Sigil is going to go down. Pop. No, Idris manages to secure it, and now it's going to be Official Hind going down to Iron Gudai. Most likely they'll fire. Does get the stun, but Crocodile's is missed. It's a great dodge from Iron Gudai. The heal's not enough, and that is another kill for Nebulae. Official Hind will now not be up to try and defend this Kraken, which is literally almost all of Elite 8's Kraken damage is on that Celeste. But where are Nebulae? I'm sure they've just left the Kraken free to be taken out by Hunyegers.
But I guess, I mean, Trophies has to go down to shop, and
yeah, Hunyegers going to get stunned up. But again, Trophies isn't there, and now he's going to go in. There's Chakram. Boots used by Vox to try and run away. Official Hunt up in 7 seconds. Actually, the Slumbering Husk was procced by Angu. You die. And so now they're going to try and get 2 turrets most likely, and then possibly try and push for more, because Official Hind hasn't taken this Kraken down, so it's still at half health. But no, Nebulae going to leave a half health Kraken just to die to Elite 8, give them a bit of gold, and Nebulae wants to just take the whole jungle rotation away, including Sentry. So that's pretty successful. 2 turrets and some nice kills for Nebulae there, pushing their gold lead quite nicely.
Yep, I mean, all in all, I guess, you know, with Celeste gone from the equation, really Nebulae can just push a little more. And in fact, even if Official Hind comes back, what Idris really excels in is just go into the back lines and try his best to assassinate, because that really is his job, yeah, to assassinate and hero, because he is basically an assassin. Even with a CP build, he can actually just do that, but we saw the reluctance of him. He really wants and he counts on his entire team to actually land those CCs before he decides to jump in and throw out the Chakrams and just play like a mage. Like, he mains a mage, so I guess that is how he is going to play all in all, with whatever hero he plays. Because for all the team fights we saw, and if Elite 8 actually spots this out, that Elite 8 would have realized that as long as they can block out the CCs coming out from Nebula, then they can immediately jump on top of Trophies, remove Trophies, and then, you know, just turn the attention back onto Iron Gudai, Bright Bulwark, up there.
Yeah, and I said we're not going to have that for another 4 seconds. Iron Gudai does look like he wants to go in, but not too much. And Nebulae going to try and get some poke. There's Shroud Step from Idris, and he's going to go in onto Official Hind. There's the first stun from Delphi. Blast Hammer easily blocked, but he's got the Echo. Second Blast Hammer comes down, no chance to block that. There's the Impale. So much damage is going to go down onto Hunyegers. He is going to fall. Trophies does dodge the Celeste damage much as he can with that Shimmer Strike. Will be able to survive. The portal's not enough for Anime Save Me. He's going to fall, and that is the ace and the game for Nebulae.
A perfect game for Nebulae, and this is the reason I said earlier on that, you know, this will be the game to watch, only because Elite 8 has got a big fan base, yeah, like the entirety of Indonesia really just like Elite 8, but we have
all of Indonesia, everyone.
Yeah, there you go, all of Indonesia. But we have to understand this, and we have to be factual when, you know, it comes down to the teams, is that Elite 8 hasn't quite shown performance ever since they got their spot in Worlds, right? I'm not trying to say anything right now, but Nebulae, they have a very robust team. they are a fusion of Artisan, which were part of Vainglory 8. They were part of Enix as well, and Enix as well, which were part of Vainglory 8. So there is one thing that we must look out for, and definitely it will be this match, because Truffy is. We've all known him to be a mage player. He goes on that Scarf, he goes on that Celeste.